I hope you enjoy this look. I call it, I just washed my hair and didn't feel like putting it up into a wig, so we styling today. Hello everyone and welcome to a new cosplay story time. Like I said, I want to make more videos like this because they are not frequent enough on my channel, so that's what we're going to be doing today. But before I get into it, today's cosplay story time is actually sponsored, which is very exciting. Today's sponsor is Bokksu. Bokksu is a monthly snack box subscription service that delivers unique assortments of Japanese snacks and tea pairings. I've actually been a customer of Bokksu in the past, so I was very happy to get to work with them. What I like in particular is just how broad an array of snacks that you get, and all the food that you receive is really meant to appeal to a wide range of tastes. I have everything from like Japanese pastries to candies to like crackers, and what's really unique, like I said, is that each box comes with a tea pairing that is specifically chosen to complement the tastes of all the goodies that you get in that particular crate, which is something that's completely unique to Bokksu. And being a big tea enthusiast, I love having tea with my sweets, so that's something that really stood out to me that I really like about them. The snacks in every crate are very thoughtfully curated, and every crate includes a culture guide that gives extra information about where in Japan each of the treats were made, details about their flavor profiles, and details about their cultural significance within Japan. All these features really help to provide you with an exciting gourmet experience through Japan every month. First-time customers will receive Bokksu's Seasons of Japan crate, which is the same one that they sent me and the same one that you'll be seeing footage of right now. This box is meant to give you a taste of all the snacks per season, and then after that, each box will follow a different unique monthly theme so that you're always getting to try something new. If you guys are interested in checking out Bokksu for yourself, you can get 10% off, which is up to $44 by using my link down in the description or the pinned comment, or by using the code AnyaPanda10 at checkout. Huge thank you to Bokksu for sponsoring today's video. Really appreciate it, and I hope that you guys check them out because, like I said, I've been a customer of them before, and by far this is probably my favorite snack crate, just because of how much care and quality and just value that you get in each one. So I definitely recommend checking them out. All that said, let's move on to today's cosplay story time. This is the time that I accidentally left part of my cosplay not only in the wrong town, but in the wrong country. So this took place last year at Emerald City Comic-Con. Every year, my roommate Justine and I make the drive from Vancouver over to Seattle. And this particular year, the big cosplay that I was wearing for the convention was Meg from Hercules, which, as you guys know, one of my absolute favorite characters ever, one of my absolute favorite cosplays ever. And especially at that point, this was my kind of first and currently only opportunity to get to wear her to a big con. So I was like super excited. When it's like a cosplay that you're really passionate about and like a character that you're super passionate about, and just having the opportunity to like wear that to a big con and like share that passion with like a bunch of different people, get to like work with different photographers and just have kind of this awesome like nerd experience. It's a big moment. I'm sure, I don't know if I'm like articulating that very well, but I'm sure any cosplayers watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You always have like that cosplay that you're like super excited to just get to have your time to shine, right? So that's what this was like for me. So every year we set off on Thursday morning. We get there, we check into our hotel, we pick up our badges, and then we'll usually walk around the con in like casual clothes. So we wake up, we get everything packed up, everything's going really well. We're doing well on schedule. We set off and we make the drive towards the border. We get to the border, we cross the border. It's a little bit of a wait, obviously. If you've ever, you know, crossed the Vancouver to Washington border, you obviously know sometimes there's a bit of a wait. On that particular day, there was a little bit of a wait, but it wasn't too bad. And then we eventually made it through customs and we were on our way. So after you cross the border, you kind of go through like the rural area for quite a while. So we're making this, you know, very scenic, very picturesque drive. You know, there are mountains, we get to see like farms and stuff, and you know, it's very relaxing. And usually during these drives, I like to think about like how the weekend is gonna go and like what I'm looking forward to and all that. And of course, you know, I was thrilled to get to wear Meg. I'm thinking about this and thinking about all like the pieces of my costume, and then I realized that while I was packing, I totally forgot about the little gold pieces on her dress. If you don't know, she has like 3 gold brooches on her outfit. So 2 of them hold up the straps and then one of them holds on to like her very weird sash, but she has 3 of these on there. Since this was a cosplay that I put a lot of work into, I wanted to, you know, have these extra special little touches. Instead of kind of making them more canon, I had specifically ordered these more ornate gold rhinestone-y brooches to go with the costume. And I had completely forgot about them. A huge factor in this was that I had just recently moved to Vancouver, and this was the first time that I was wearing that costume since moving. So I realized that I had never unpacked that part. I don't typically keep the brooches on the dress while the dress is hanging up just because I'm worried about it, like maybe accidentally pulling the fabric or something breaking. I don't know. I get stressed about it, so I put them in a separate props area and then I just take them out when I go to put on the dress, right? And so I'd realized that I had obviously packed the dress because I had it hanging up, on my costume rack, right? Not a big deal. But I realized that I had not gone and dug the brooches out of my moving boxes. So we're in the car, I'm very chill, and then I get kind of like this surge of like, oh no, I do not have these brooches. But I'm trying to stay chill. I'm like, okay, all right. Out of anything that you could leave behind, this is probably the most easily replaceable, right? Gold brooches. These are things that normal people buy on a normal basis, so you can probably find one. It's gonna be fine. It's a normal jewelry item. It's not something they had to custom make for this cosplay. So you should be fine. Don't stress about it. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, Justine, I just realized that I left part of my cosplay at home and we've just crossed the border, but I'm trying to stay chill about it. And she's like, judging me very hard, obviously, like she always does. So I'm like, I'm trying not to freak out. I'm sure it's gonna be an easy thing to replace. And she's like, yeah, I'm sure that's gonna be fine. I'm like, all right, are you gonna be cool if we go and we shop around for things to replace this part of my outfit? She's like, yeah, that's fine. So eventually we start driving through this very small Washington town, like this very rural-ish Washington town. I don't even know which Washington town it was, but it was small. It was very humble. It was a very humble little town. And I think it had some American box store that we don't have in Canada. I think it was Fred Meyer, which also had like an accompanying Starbucks. So I was like, can we stop for Starbucks? This is something I told Justine beforehand. I'm like, I'm gonna want Starbucks on the way to keep me awake. Since you're driving, I'll buy you anything from Starbucks, but I would like to stop for Starbucks. And she's like, okay, I don't usually like stop along the way, but that's totally cool. And like, especially if you're buying me things, that's fine. So we stop and we get like a late breakfast as well. And since we're in this Fred Meyer, I'm like, all right, are you okay if we do a quick little walk around in this Fred Meyer? So we poke around. Bless Justine for being so patient with me. We don't find anything. At this point, my stress is mounting because I kind of had this vision of like, you go into any kind of outlet store, you're gonna find brooches, right? That's a normal thing to find. But we hit up this Fred Meyer and there's nothing there, and that's slowly kind of making my stress mount, right? Part of this is because some cosplays are more important to you than others, right? Especially if it's like a cosplay that you've maybe worn a bunch of times. Like I wore Tracer at Emerald City Comic Con, and that's a cosplay that I've worn a whole bunch of times. So if there was something slightly off about it, I wouldn't be too bothered because I've had other opportunities to wear her to big conventions and I've had, a great time, and I have a huge wealth of photos of Tracer, so like it wouldn't bother me as much, right? It's a character that means a lot to me, but like that particular cosplay, I've worn enough, so it's fine. But for Meg, first of all, I had done a bunch of revamps to the cosplay since I had first worn it that I was really excited to get photos of. Second, that has currently actually been my only opportunity to wear her to a really, really big convention. And third, like that was the cosplay and character that I was like really most passionate about at the time, right? So this was kind of a big deal for me, right? And when you have that kind of a cosplay, you have that kind of a project, you want everything to be perfect, right? Or as perfect as possible. None of us are actually perfect. Remember that. Important thing for us cosplayers to remember. If I was able to find something that could stand in for these brooches, looking at the photos later, I wouldn't want them to be something that I would immediately hate, right? Obviously, like, they don't have to be perfect, they don't have to be, amazing, but I don't want to look at the photos and be like, oh, like this cosplay would be great if it weren't for those crappy stand-in brooches, right? That was kind of the stress point that was like mounting in my mind. But I'm trying to stay chill. I'm like, all right, this is just the first store. We're gonna get to downtown Seattle. Downtown Seattle is huge. We'll find something, we'll be fine. So we arrive in Seattle, we check in, and immediately I'm like, hey, can we go to Target? And Justine is like, yes, we can go to Target. She also wanted to look in Target, and she also needed things for her cosplay, so it wasn't a huge issue. So we get to Target, and I go to the jewelry section, and I cannot find any brooches. It's like all the gold brooches in Washington State just evaporated as soon as I got there. In my desperation, I grab, in retrospect, just a weird Mod Podge of items. So the closest thing that I could find to her pendants was this full pack of gold magnets, which I actually have them. I still have them. This is what they looked like, right? So those were gonna be them. I immediately thought they looked really small, but Justine was like, I'm sure that they'll be fine. And also you don't have many other choices. I'm like, you're right. So these were the gold magnets. I still use them to this day. I still use them to this day. So they're actually quite nice. So I get these, I get some bronze paint so I can paint the little swirls on them. I buy a pack of like rhinestone stickers just in case I want to like experiment putting rhinestones instead of the little swirls, just to make them look kind of closer to the original brooches that I had. I got an entire pack that was very overpriced. All of this was very overpriced, of safety pins, which Justine also needed, so it wasn't that bad, but it was still a lot. I got little like file folder things because I needed some sort of cardboard to, in my mind, cover up the magnet part, which wouldn't have actually made too much of a difference, but at the time I felt like I needed to cover this up with something. And a packet of Gorilla Glue, which at the time all of this seemed logical, and there was logic behind all of these things, but like looking back, it was just a disaster pile of items. So I get to the checkout. I don't tally up the cost because I'm dreading how much all of it is going to cost. All of it, again, was very expensive. And like in this case, I only needed 2 of these, right? But I had to buy the whole like pack of 10. You couldn't just buy like a few safety pins. You had to buy this entire like $6 packet of them. Like it was ridiculous. But you know, a panic cosplayer will do many, many, many crazy things. I think it came to like $50 US for everything, which is like $65 Canadian. It was a lot. I'm dying inside at the price because this is not a travel expense that I wanted to have, but here we are. And even after like, you know, buying everything, I'm still stressed because I'm like, I don't think these magnets are gonna work. I think they're gonna be too small. Like I feel like it's gonna be something that I'll look back on at the photos and just dislike. I'm not really sure if we had gotten our passes before that or if we immediately went to Target. I was very stressed and really wanted to get to Target. So we did that pretty quickly, right? And then at a certain point at the day, I think we had been around the convention and then we were walking home. I can't exactly remember, but there's a Starbucks that's like right outside the convention center. And so we walked past the Starbucks, and at that time, obviously it won't be there anymore, but at the time, a little bit after that Starbucks was a Forever 21. RIP Forever 21, except not really, you did it to yourself. Your clothing sucked at the end. And I stop and I'm like, would it be okay if we went inside Forever 21? And Justine is like, I know why you want to go into Forever 21. Okay, we'll go into Forever 21. Bless her soul for being so patient. As downtown Seattle will, you know, it's this massive Forever 21. I make a beeline upstairs for their jewelry section, and I searched around a little bit, and I eventually, in their clearance section, come across these gold earrings, which I'm actually wearing the remnants of them today. They were like $5 or $7 a pair, which again, compared to $50 that I spent for everything at Target was just a blessing. Obviously they had 3 of these pendants, so one really big one at the bottom, and I thought, okay, I can easily like rip those off of the earrings since they have like the little kind of holes in them. That can easily be sewn onto the dress. Again, they look really ornate. This might be the answer to my prayer. Like I already paid $50 for unnecessary junk, but my prayers have been answered. It is the most divine feeling. I am so grateful and at ease. So we get back to our hotel room, and what I ended up doing was, like I said, so I'm wearing the remnants of the earrings right now, but these used to be at the very bottom, and what I did was just to make them more reminiscent of the brooches that I had that had rhinestones on them, I Gorilla Glued some rhinestones onto them, and I sewed them to my dress, and this was what I wore for Emerald City Comic Con. And I also didn't even have to like be wasteful about it, because now I have this cute pair of earrings, and I was able to give the other pair to a friend, so now we have matching earrings. So, you know, it all worked out really, really well. It just sucks that I had to spend $50 US in order to get there. But either way, I kind of thought that I would wear these for Emerald City Comic Con, and I would like how they looked, especially given the circumstances, but ultimately I would prefer how my other brooches looked. So, you know, looking at the photos would be like, oh, you know, that's nice, but like, too bad it wasn't the brooches. I would have liked the brooches more. But I actually don't really know what my preference is between these and the original brooches. I kind of like both, and I especially like how these looked in all the photos. Like all the photos that I got at Emerald City Comic Con, I was very blessed to get to work with just so many talented photographers during that day. Like it was just a full day of photo shoots. I felt amazing. That is like the best that cosplay has ever looked. I mean, like looking at the photos, I think that these actually look really, really nice. So it all worked out very well. And now whenever I wear Mega, I get to choose whether I want these more like simpler pendants or if I want to go with the initial brooches. So I kind of get to change it up depending on my mood, which is a nice little feature to have on that cosplay. So that's a little Easter egg. If you look at my Meg photos, you can see whether we had the original version with the brooches or if we had the emergency version with these Forever 21 earrings. Everything has a way of working out in the end. That is one thing that cosplay has really taught me. The other thing that I want to mention about these, which was such a moment. When I was in the car, I was like, okay, well, I know exactly where the brooches were. When I get home, like I'll know exactly where they are. When I looked in the place that I thought they were not there. And in fact, I had no idea where they were. It wasn't until months later when I was looking for something completely different. I was digging through this bag of clothing that I found them. The original brooches were tucked away in this little fabric envelope, not in a box of cosplay supplies, but in this little container of long sleeve shirts. I decided to like sandwich them between these long sleeve shirts because in my mind this was going to cushion them and like keep them from getting broken, which is all fine and well, but like it was just like the most out there place to put it because you always want to keep your cosplay stuff together. And so I thought, you know, logically this is going to be just like with the rest of my cosplay props, but it was with my long sleeve shirts that I never even wear. It was just the most like, what were you thinking place to put the brooches? Like, why? So I had to scold myself for that one. I was very unimpressed with myself, but now that this has happened, I will never lose track of these and I will always make sure that they're on the dress. That is another good takeaway to this, is that once you forget a part of a cosplay, oh, you're never gonna forget that part ever again. You're always gonna know exactly where it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. And again, a huge thank you to Bokksu for sponsoring today's video. If you guys are interested in trying them out for yourselves, which I certainly recommend, you can use my link down in the description and also the pinned comment. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I'll see you guys all next time, but until then, Panda Faces, please be sure to take care. Bye.